afternoon. Welcome to our webinar today. Today, we're going to be looking at tips, tricks, and hidden gems in Matrix. I'm Laura Salzman from Cotality, and let's get started. So today in this webinar, we are going to look at a few different things. The first thing that I'm going to talk about are all the things that I wish I had known earlier. I'm a licensed real estate agent, and I am sad to tell you there are some things I learned about Matrix a little bit too late. And so now I am on a mission to make sure every agent doesn't make the same mistake that I did. So I'm going to share with you some of the things that I wish I knew earlier about Matrix. Then we're going to look at a few of the classic things that we have in Matrix that you might have overlooked during your time as an agent. I'm going to show you a couple of the new things that we have available for you. We will make sure that all of your questions and answers are taken care of. And at any time, please use that question box and share your favorite. All right, so let's get started and let's talk about a few of the things that I wish we'd known earlier. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to kind of just tell you all the things up front, and then we're going to move over into Matrix, and I'm going to show you with a little bit more detail. So some of the things that I wish I had known earlier today were portal notifications. If you know about portal notifications right now, you are a step ahead of me. I did not know about these until I came to work for Cotality. So I'm going to tell you why I think you need to know about portal notifications. We're going to look at carts. What are they and how can you use them? We're going to look at the Learning Lab widget and what that means for you. And custom displays. This is a great tool that you can use in many different ways. So I'm going to talk to you about those. And then some of the classics that we have in Matrix, things that you may have overlooked over time. We're going to talk about concierge mode, how to set it up and how to use it for your clients. We're going to look at the driving directions tab. Did you know there was a driving directions tab? And I'm going to share with you how I used it. I used it for more than just driving. I can tell you that. And then we're going to look at the favorite searches widget. There is a place that you can save all of those on your dashboard, and I'm going to show you how to do that. We're going to look at the map layers. This is just something I'm going to point out how you can do this because it's a way that you can get a little bit more information or see data in a different way. And then there's a couple of new things that we're going to look at. We're going to look at the new dashboard, and I'm going to show you how to move to it if you have not done so yet. So let's go ahead and let's get started with portal notifications. So portal notifications can be found on the settings page. To get to the settings page, you're going to go to your name, and it doesn't matter which dashboard you're on. I'm on the new dashboard. If you're still on the old dashboard, that's fine. But you're going to go to your name, and you're going to click on that little arrow, and you're looking for settings. This takes you to the settings page. And on this page are where you can configure some different information. But what we're looking for are portal notification settings. When you open up portal notification settings, you're going to see a list of everything that your contacts can do. And your contacts are basically your clients. So this is everything that they are going to be able to do within Matrix, within the system. And then you get to decide how you know about it. So here's where this would have been helpful to me. I knew that all of these things were on my timeline because I would see them on my dashboard. And that's all I knew. And so when I came to work for Cotality, I was complaining a little bit about how when my clients added a note on a listing, I would have to go into my dashboard every day and check to see if anybody had left me notes. And I said, this would be a lot easier if I would get a text message when my clients sent me a note, rather than me having to log into Matrix and go look. And they all kind of just looked at me and rolled their eyes at me and basically said, Laura, that exists. You have missed it. So they showed me portal notifications. Had I known about this button right here, notify me ASAP by text, every time my sweet millennial clients who loved sending me notes through the system, I would have gotten a text message and then could have responded accordingly. I didn't know that. And I was frustrated because I was on a regular basis going into Matrix and checking. So had I clicked that little button a few years ago, I would have saved myself a ton of time and a lot of brain power. So I show all this to you to show you that you have the ability to choose how you're notified. You could be perfectly content with everything just going on your timeline, and that's okay. You might be like me and you want to know immediately if your client is leaving you a note. So you could choose to have an email sent to you. You could choose to have a text message sent to you. The other option we have is just a daily email. It's going to give you a summary once a day. You get a pick. Now, the choices that you make here are for every contact. You're not making it for a specific contact, but anytime a contact, sends you a note, you would get a text message. So you're simply just deciding, hey, I want to know about this immediately. And you can pick ASAP or email or text, a daily email, or just on my timeline. So you get to pick. This is part of how you can make Matrix customized to you because you get to choose. Now, if you do choose texting, there's one more step that you need to complete. You need to scroll to the bottom and make sure that you include your phone number and your cellular provider. Then it's going to give you a code. You're going to put in that code. You're getting that code right here, the send me a verification code. Then you would input it. So you want to make sure that you do this step right here if you want to receive text messages. By doing this step, you are giving the system permission to send you a text message. We always want to send text messages, or we always want to give permission with that, so that I think there's like spamming laws and all that kind of good stuff. So just make sure that you go ahead and complete this step if you choose any kind of texting, and then obviously hit save. All right, so that is portal notifications. And again, the way you get to portal notifications is you're going to go to your name, you're looking for settings, and then you're going to click on portal notifications from the settings page. All right, so that was the first hidden gem. Now, while I'm here, this isn't really a hidden gem to me. I knew about this, but while we're on this page, I want to just go ahead and call your attention to it, just in case you don't know. Right here under my information, it's always a good idea to come in here and take a look at your info. Make sure it's correct. Make sure your emails are correct. Make sure your phone numbers are correct. I don't have a lot of information loaded here, but this is just another little helpful thing to know about how you can brand Matrix to yourself. So you can also come in here and set up customized headers and footers. You can choose from what we have available to you. You can go ahead and set up your own email signature so it looks like you. You can put in there your picture, your, whatever you need for your signature. And then the last one is One Home, which is our client portal. This is where you can come in and add a photo and add some of the branding for One Home. So I always like to point that out to people while we're on that settings page. All right, so let's go ahead and head back to the dashboard now. And again, if your dashboard looks anything like mine, then you are on the new dashboard. If you're on the old dashboard, it's going to look different than mine. So I want to encourage you throughout today to give the new dashboard a chance. But before we get to that part, we're going to talk about carts. Carts are another widget that I found out about too late. I kind of found out what they were near the end of my real estate career. And when I asked people at Cotality, I kind of did both jobs for a little bit. What is a cart? Why would I use this? I had seen the widget here, but I never took the time to figure out what it is and how I could use it and why it's important to me. So I want to encourage you to consider using carts. So carts are simply, if I had to give you a definition of it, it's a place to store listings, and it's not tied to any kind of criteria. So, when we do an auto email or when we do a favorite search, all of those are tied to pieces of criteria, the information that we put in the search. Carts are simply listings that you liked and you're saving on them here. You're holding on to them here. So you can see that I have two carts. I have one called What Were They Thinking? And I have one called Anna's apartments. Anna's my daughter. She's the one that's moving to Atlanta. I want you to first notice the difference. Notice on Anna's, it starts with her name and then it gives me the title of the cart. That's because I can link a cart to a contact. If you link a cart to a contact, it's always going to start with the contact's name first, and then you will get the title of the cart. If you don't link it to a contact, maybe you're making it just for yourself, it's simply going to have the name of the cart. So I do this one as a joke. We're going to go ahead and open it up. I honestly don't even know what listings I threw in here, but I always said, and I'm saying that because I think I just picked some and threw them in there for example. But in real life, if I had made a cart that said, what were they thinking? Those are the places where I would have thrown the listings that had photos that I was just like, why would you carpet the ceiling of a bathroom? Or my goodness, what were they thinking with this? Just kind of funny things that I might want to go back to and look at later, because you simply can just throw it in there. Now, the real way I would use them is I would set up a showing cart for every one of my clients, and I'm going to show you how to do that. So what we're going to do today is we're going to pretend that I'm going to take some clients out and show them some properties. Now, I'm just going to go ahead and click on the new listings because I just want to grab a couple of listings. So I want you to pretend with me, but pretend that my new client, we're going to go look at these 3 listings. At any time when you've made a selection, you're probably really used to coming down here and using any of our action buttons, or maybe you're used to saving this. Next to save, there is carts. This is how you create a cart. You select whichever listings you want to put into the cart, and then you simply hit carts. Now, what you're going to see first is you're going to see a list of all the carts that you have created. We know that I have created 2, so I can see both of those carts there. If I don't want to add these to these carts, I can create a new cart. So if I wanted to do what were they thinking, I would just leave it as is. If I wanted to add them to Anna's carts, I would highlight Anna's and then hit add to. So now you see Anna is up to 8. But what I really want to do is to take these listings and create a new cart. So I'm going to hit new cart. And the first thing I have the option is to name the cart. So I'm going to call it showing cart for Anna. And then I'm going to link it to Anna. So I can choose my contact. If I don't have the contact listed, I could go ahead and just create a new contact. And since I already have her in my contacts, I didn't have to do that step. And now I'm going to hit save. All right, so now when I go back to my dashboard, under my carts widget, I'm going to see there's another cart, showing cart for Anna. So now every time I take Anna out and we look at a property and we physically have taken a look at it, I'm going to throw that into her cart. And now I have a record of everything that I'm showing Anna. Now, I'll tell you in reality how I did this. Early in my career, how I actually did this is I had the printed copy of the listing information. And when I got back to my office after a showing, I would throw it in a manila folder for the client. And I just kept all of those showing papers and with my notes on it and that kind of stuff, so that I had a record of what I had shown her with my notes attached. Had I had cards, I would have just thrown everything into a cart. And then anytime she called me or anytime I needed to reference it, I could simply pull up that cart and I would see everything I had shown her. What's really nice about it too is, let's say 2 months down the road, Anna calls me and says, hey, what was that house that we saw on Juliet Drive? Do you remember? I can come here very quickly and look it up. So that's one way that I can see carts would be very helpful. Another way I think carts could be helpful is if you were looking for comps for creating CMAs. You could make a comps cart where you were just throwing in comps for, this listing or whatever. The key to remember with carts is it's not tied to any kind of criteria. It is simply you're throwing that listing in and so that you can access it easier. When I've asked agents, what are some examples of carts that you would make? Some of my favorite ones were, one of them was great listings. And what she said that she would do is anytime she saw a great listing or she really liked something that the real estate agent had done, she would throw that into a cart so she could go back and reference it to maybe mimic or take parts of that into her own business. Other ways that I could see it would be interesting is like carts that your homes you're just watching. Sometimes we want to keep an eye on a particular listing just for whatever reason. You could throw that into like a watch cart. And so, anytime that you pulled that cart up, you could see those particular listings. All right. So can you tell I like carts? Enough about carts. We need to move on. While we're here, the next thing I want to talk to you about is this widget right here. This is called the Matrix Learning Lab. If you were to click on this widget, it's going to take you to what we call is the Matrix Learning Lab. It is just a location where there's more education for you. Videos, handouts, that kind of thing. So if you're finding that you need some information about Realist and you want to take a training, but there's not anything scheduled, you could come in here to the Learning Lab and look for some things for training. So I like to point this out. I hate to tell you, this widget, when I was a real estate agent, it looked a little bit different. I literally thought they put it on my dashboard as decoration. I didn't even know you could do anything with it. That was my mistake. But again, I like to point things out that I missed out on. So if you need extra learning, make use of our Matrix Learning Lab. It is here for you. The other thing that I wanted to point out to you were custom displays. If you're not aware what a custom display is, a custom display is what you see when you are looking at listings or getting your displays. So the easiest way for me to show you one and to show you how to edit it is we're going to do a really quick search together. So I've just gone under your residential search and I'm just going to do one based on price just to see if we can whittle things down pretty quickly. Here we go. We'll do 4 plus bathrooms. There we go, 47. That's good enough. So we're going to grab these results. All right. So when you're looking at your results, what you're looking at is a display. This display, and I've already got mine set. I need to go back to default. By default, for you, more than likely, it's going to look exactly like this. This is called the agent single line display. I think of this page as just a really fancy Excel spreadsheet page because it's constructed of columns, it's constructed of rows, just like a spreadsheet. And you can come in here and you can make it your own, or you can use any of these other displays that we have. Now, granted, some of these displays are not, they're going to be full page displays, but like this one right here, photo one-liner. Let's take a peek at that one. Maybe you want your display to have a photo. This is really nice. That way you can very quickly look through, see the information, see the house, know if it's going to work for your client or not. So you may like this. So if you really like this and want to use it all the time, but you're not worried about changing any of the columns, you could come over here to the gear and you could just set that as your favorite. So now this is going to be my default. Every time I come into displays or every time I look at results, this is going to be my display. And you can always change it at any time. You can come in here and select another one. Let's see what website looks like. There we go. That's an interesting display, right? Or let's see what this one. Let's try, let's do agent full. Now this is going to be the full page. So it's not exactly like the one pager. If you're at this point, then you can just go back to agent single line. So you kind of get the idea how you can change this. Well, you can also customize it. So when I do this drop down, notice that some of these start with the word my. That's because I've made these and I've saved them. Anything that doesn't have the word my is a part of your system. And if you see things on mine that you don't have, don't worry about it. I have a different input than you do. So that might be part of the reason. But you do have the ability to create your own. So let me show you what I mean by that. If you wanted to come in here and kind of move things around, you can. Let's say that you like the address there. Let's say you want the city over here. You simply have to go to the top of each column, get those little crosshair looking things, and then you're just going to left click with your mouse and you're going to drag and drop to wherever you want it to be. Well, let's say that, it's important that you see the subdivision, but you need that to be a little bit smaller because you want to get some more information on your screen. So you can change the size of these as well. Well, let's say you flat out don't even want the column there. No big deal. Come back up to these crosshairs. You're going to right click. You're going to left click. Well, hello, left click. And then this box is going to pop up. So with this box, you're going to see that you've got some options. You can change the width, you can auto fit, remove, insert columns. That's what we're going to talk about. But you can also work on the alignment as well. So I just want to get rid of this column. So I'm going to say remove column. It's gone. I don't really care about the county. I'm going to remove that column. I don't really care about the status. I'm going to remove that column. I mean, I care, but you know what I'm trying to get at. But let's say that there is some information that you want that you do not see here and you want to add a column. So you're just going to do the same process. You're going to go to wherever you want to add it. You're going to left click and you're going to insert a column. And then this is going to give you a drop down of every column that you have a choice to insert. So maybe schools are important to you. So let's say I want to know what the high school is. So now I have added the high school. So I can see that information very quickly. Whatever you need to see, you can create it. When you have it like you like it, you're going to want to come up here to manage display. You're going to left click and you want to save it. So you can rename it as if you want. You can save it as a copy. And then now it's going to show up in your list of drop downs. One of the ones that I liked making was the showing info. Let's say I had a list of houses like we did earlier when we were throwing those houses into a cart. But now you can see I'm looking at it through the showing info. So instead of having to click on each listing, I can see very easily what I need to know for showing that property. That's an example of something that you might want. The other thing that's nice to know, however you make these, the other thing that you can do with this is you can export that information. So sometimes people want to export information. The easiest way to do it is to set up what pieces of information they want, and then it's going to be available for export. So I've highlighted all of these, and I'm going to click on this export button. So when I do, you're going to see how you want the format. Any of those custom displays that you create are going to be listed here. So you're going to be able to export the information that you created on those custom displays. That's not necessarily something everybody uses, but for those of you who want that, it is a great tool to have so that you're able to download that data and use however you need to use it. Okay, so that's pretty much it about custom displays. Come in here. No, at best, you can change the display based on what you see, or you can even customize it and make your own. All right, I'm going to go ahead and put it back on single line. The other thing to note, if you mess up, if you don't like what you've done, you can always come here to the gear and just reset to the system default. I love that we have reset buttons because sometimes I'll just start pushing a lot of things. And then I'm like, oh, I don't even like what I did. I need to restart. And you can always do that with our reset button. All right. So those were the things that I wish I had known earlier. You can probably tell I'm excited about them and I want you to use them. Let's move on to some of the classic things that we have here in Matrix that you may already use or you may have overlooked. The first one I want to talk to you about is what we call concierge mode. Now, if you notice, I actually have a widget here on my dashboard. Now, this is a little bit of and I'm using air quotes, you can't see me, a secret widget, so to speak, because it shows up when you have clients set up in concierge mode. If you don't have a client using concierge mode, you're not going to see that widget. So if you're not seeing one, that's why. And you're probably wondering, what is it? How do I use it? All that kind of good stuff. So what I'm going to show you here is I've got Anna set up and you can see that 21 listings need my approval for her. So what concierge mode is it's just another level of customer service. And you set it up when you're setting up a saved auto email. So let's go ahead and do really quick. Let's just do our, well, let me just go grab one of these old searches. Let's just grab that search that we made earlier. And let me clear all those off. So if I was going to save this as an auto email, I would go to save and then I would click on new auto email. And normally you come down here to the bottom and you schedule it. You either schedule it to go out daily, or you schedule it to go out monthly, or perhaps you schedule it to go out immediately. And then what the system's going to do is, as soon as a listing matches the criteria, it's going to be sent to the contact. But I want you to see up here above that, we have under settings, we have what we call enable concierge mode. When you turn that on, it's taken away the scheduling, because it's no longer going to send the listing to your contact first. Anytime something matches this criteria, it's going to come to you first, and then you get to choose which listings go to your clients. So we can see, let's pretend that Anna has, this is her criteria. I'm going to enable concierge mode. Anytime something matched this criteria, I would be alerted of it. I highly recommend that you keep this box checked where it says send me an alert notification by email. The system will tell you in 3 different ways that you have listings that need to be addressed for concierge mode. One is they're going to send you an email. That way, even if you're not in Matrix, you're still going to get an email to say, hey, your client's got some listings. You really need to go pay attention to them and do something with them. The second way is it's going to show up on your widget, which is what we had seen earlier. So anytime you log into your dashboard, you're going to see that you've got a little bit of work to do right here. And then the third way is it's going to show up on your notification bell. So anytime you see that little thing, is letting you know, hey, I've got some listings that I need to approve. So this is an old search that I had done for Anna. It's very easy to go in here. You would just simply highlight your client's name. And then these are all the listings that matched her criteria. So I would do my due diligence and I would go through and I would select the ones that I thought she would like. Perhaps she told me, I don't want to live in a home that has, I don't know, a curvy driveway. You can't really filter out curvy driveway in your criteria, but you could if you looked at the photos. So I would come in here and anything with a curvy driveway, I would reject it. So let's pretend that these listings have curvy driveways. So we're just going to reject them. And then let's say I really knew that these particular listings are things that she would absolutely love. And again, in the real world, I would actually look at the listing, but then I'm going to approve it. And so once I hit approve, only those listings are sent to the client. It's a really good tool to have if you need to add that extra level of customer service, if you need to look at listings for criteria that you can't search by, or perhaps another one is, the condition of homes that your clients are looking for, or maybe the flow of the floor plan. And maybe you just like to see everything that you send out before it goes. That's what concierge mode lets you do. So I highly recommend using it if you need the ability to preview the listings before your client sees them. All right, let's talk about driving directions for a second. So let's go back to our dashboard. And again, let's just go find our search that we've been using. Driving directions. Did you know, and I bet you did, but in case you didn't, there is a way that you can get driving directions for listings. So it's part of our action button. So this is just some searches that I did, but anytime you can do it from a search, you can do it from new listings, you can do it from whatever. But anytime you have listings highlighted, you can get driving directions for them. So a great way would be if you're going to go on a buyer's tour and you've got to show multiple properties, I would come in here, highlight the things that I'm going to show, and I would hit driving directions. This is going to put it in the best order for you. Wait, now why did it do all of them for me? Hold on a second. Did I highlight more than I thought? It should have just done. Let's see. I'm not going to highlight any of them. Okay, when I don't highlight any of them, it does all of them for me. But you kind of get the idea. Let me do that again because I only want driving directions for those three. Okay, that's interesting. I need to check on that. That I always thought it only did the ones that you have highlighted. But anyway, you kind of get the idea of what it's going to do. This is way too many to do right now. We don't have 413 minutes to go look at all of these listings. I could come in here and delete things too. If you see things that it's something that you wouldn't want. And then once you've made any kind of change, let's say I put this one at the top, you're going to come in and hit the direction button again. The reason I like this is you guys are in Metroplex. I live in a Metroplex. When I'm showing multiple properties to people, sometimes I don't know the best way to show them, especially if they're really close together. This is going to tell me what the best order is. It's also going to tell me all of the turns. I actually did still print this off. Just in case something happened to my phone, I at least had some kind of directions of how I could get to the other listings. I use this the most for lining up the order in which we were going to see the houses based on location. And then I would use this right here to help me set the appointments, because it would say, let's pretend we start at house number 1 at 10 o'clock in the morning. We look at it for 30 minutes. I've got an hour drive until I get to house number 2. Well, then I'm going to know I need to at least set my appointment for an hour and a half after this one. That's just kind of how I did it. It really helped me with the timing of knowing the distance between them. So I love that feature for this. In the future, you're going to see where this is going to be able to be sent to your Google Maps, which I think is really cool. It's not quite ready yet, but you'll see that soon too. So use that driving directions when you need to know the best order to show properties. If you want to print off the directions just in case something happened with your phone, it's a great tool to use. Back to our dashboard, we have our favorite search widget. So anytime you make a favorite search in Matrix, all of those saved searches are going to be here under Save Search. To get to that, you're just going to go to My Matrix and scroll down to Saved Searches. So you're going to be able to access any of your saved searches from here. But sometimes you have a saved search that you want to be able to see on your dashboard. So you can see I've got my saved searches here. I've got a test for Tuesday. That would be one that I made for a test. My favorite houses and Anna's apartments. Let's see what I did for favorites. I don't even remember. But this is an easy way for me to go ahead and access those listings. So we can see there's, I got 92 listings here under my favorites. Whenever you are going to create a saved search and you want it to appear under your favorite searches, let me show you how you do that. We're going to go back to our handy dandy results again that we got. And instead of saving it as an auto email, to create a saved search, you simply save it as a new saved search. And from here, you have a little box where you can check, yes, put that on my favorite search. So that's one way that you can do it. The other thing that you could do is if you did create this as a new auto email, you could also enable it here as well. Enable it as my favorite search. And then that way it's going to show up on your dashboard. So if you want them to be there on your dashboard, simply when you're creating them, just check that box. You can have up to 10 that you manage here on your widget. Okay, so that is the Save Search widget. And then the last of the little classic stuff we have here are what we call map layers. So note, a lot of times when we come in here to do searches, we instantly go to the criteria page. Did you know that you didn't have to? You could come in here and you could go to the map page. And so you could actually start your search from here if you wanted to. The other thing that I wanted to point out to you are these map layers, because you have the ability here to add layers to your maps. So this is where this is housed. You would go to the map page and you would look for the layers button. It looks a little bit like 3 little stacks of paper. When you click on that, you're going to see which ones you have access to. If it's black, you have access to it. If it's kind of grayed out, you don't. But notice what happened as I started clicking on information. It's going to start to add that layer of information to the map for you to see. So you can see, let's see what all y'all have access to. There, wait, trends are the one that I think is super interesting. So let's take a peek at median sell price. So we instantly can see now you've got your not your grid, your key that's letting you know we did sales price, right? So it kind of, I just think this is a really cool tool. If you need to come in here, maybe you want to do a screenshot, maybe you want to share this information with someone, maybe you're just doing it for your own knowledge. Like right here, I find this extremely interesting, and it helps me understand why when my daughter was looking for apartments in Virginia Highlands, one, there's not a whole lot of them, but also kind of helps me see the pricing, and it kind of shows me that, hey, if I want to go look around for fun, I'm going to go drive in this area of Atlanta. But anyway, this information is here. You can even look up sales activity, but it's just an easy way to view that information. And a lot of times people don't even know this button exists, these layers information. So I just wanted to point that out to you so that you could see it and use it how you need it. Okay, so that is our map layer. Well, now we're down to the last two things that we're going to talk about today, and those are some of the new features that we have for you in Matrix. So the first one, I've already told you about it, but I haven't gone in detail, but is the new dashboard. So I've been on my new dashboard all day. Let me go ahead and make my dashboard look like the classic mode, because a lot of you may be used to this view. This is probably what you're used to. When I was in real estate working as an agent, this is exactly what I used. And I didn't think anything about it. I had my widgets. I could drag my widgets and move them around and put them where I wanted to. I could minimize my widgets. I could completely close out my widgets. I could bring them back. All sorts of things that I could do. I could make it my own, which is one of the things, like I mentioned earlier, that we want to give you the ability to make your dashboards, to make Matrix work for you. And I could do that here on this one. But what always bothered me was all of this space. It was always just wasted. It's just like, come on. I just felt it was wasted space. We could only do it in 3 columns. Well, now with our new dashboard, a couple of things have changed. So to get to the new dashboard, I'm going to 100,000,000% encourage you to do it today. It is a very easy lift, and I think within a week or 2 of using it, you won't even remember this dashboard. But what you're going to do is you're simply going to come to your name, and there's a toggle here. It says classic mode. Right now, the classic mode is toggled on, so I want to go ahead and turn it off. And this is just saying, hey, you're moving over. Are you sure you want to do it? Thank you to the classic mode, but yes, I'm going to move to the new dashboard. Now, hopefully the thing that you see first is it takes up the full screen. The new dashboard is built with what's called responsive design, meaning it's going to take up the size space of the screen. So if I minimized it, let's pretend, oopsies, hold on. Now I really minimized it. I made it disappear. There we go. Let's pull that back up here. But if you wanted to, let's pretend that you're on a tablet. It's going to fit that size screen. Let's pretend you're on your phone. You can scroll through. So it just makes it fit the screen better. So it's before, when you would look at it on your phone or whatever, it was really not very user-friendly at all. So that responsive design helps with that. A couple of things that are different. You notice in the other one, I was able to drag and drop my widgets. Now we have what's called an edit dashboard button. You can come over here and click on edit dashboard. That's going to open up where you can edit, and you can turn on and off whichever widgets you want to use. So you can create, again, making it your own. You can turn them off. If you change your mind, you can come back in here and turn them on. Whatever floats your boat. You can also just drag and drop them and put them in the order of importance for you. So that's how we edit the dashboard now. One of the best things about the dashboard, I think the new one, is the timeline. Remember, we started this whole thing talking about portal notifications and how you want to be notified. In the new dashboard, you can be notified right here. Now, my pretend clients are not very busy, and so I have no activity going. It is always a best practice to use your refresh. But if my clients had done any of those activities, I would see them here. If they left me a note, I would see the note and could respond accordingly. So that to me is a really great feature of the new dashboard, is being able to see that timeline so easily, and then just to close it when I'm done looking at it. So I would encourage you all to give it a try. If at any time you wanted to switch back, you could do that. You simply would go back to your name and turn it back off. Okay. So I highly encourage you to give that new dashboard a try. I think you will find that you like it. And then the last thing that we're going to talk about that's something new, unless I turned it off, I think I turned it off. Oh, I got that widget turned on. Let's drag it to the top. Let's talk about One Homeowner. One Homeowner is a newer tool. Where did it go? Am I just missing it? Okay, this is what happens when I just start pushing buttons. No, it should be here. Let's drag it right here. It's off. Now it's on. Let's do a refresh. Ah, there it is. I have no idea what happened. I guess I was moving too fast. So, anyway, One Homeowner is the last of the new things I want to talk to you about today. It is a newer program that you have available to you. And the goal of One Homeowner is helping you build connections and stay connected to your clients when you're not in the middle of a transaction. We are phenomenal at being connected to our clients when we're helping them buy, when we're helping them sell. A lot of real estate agents struggle with that in between time. And if you took the webinar earlier today, or not today, but this week, you know that 88% of customers don't use the same agent twice. So we want to help that number be lower. We want you to be able to stay in relationship with your clients so that they think of you as the real estate advisor, not just their real estate agent. And that tool to help you do that is One Homeowner. It's very easy to do. You simply just click on this link and it's going to take you to your One Homeowner webinar, or not webinar, your One Homeowner dashboard, and you can invite your clients to come join you. If you'd like to know more about this information about this, I am going to be teaching a webinar on the 29th that you can sign up for when so that you can find out a little bit more about One Homeowner. All right, my friends, that concludes all of my favorite things in Matrix. You can probably tell which ones I really like because I ramble on and on about them. And I know that there are more things in here that sometimes get hidden. So thank you so much. I appreciate you, and I will see you at my next webinar. Everybody have a great day.